Shalom, Erev Tov, and we find ourselves in the week of the portion of Shlach, the sending of the spies into the Eretz Yisrael. And needless to say, since the spies were already in Israel and they already came back, and the kosher spies Yehoshua and Kalev told us that this is a land flowing with milk and honey, and it's a kosher land and a good land. We don't need any more spies to be sent. We should just settle the land. Our weekly story this week, it transpires around the incredible miracles that have been sprouting up. Sprouting up, I mean, not the fact that they have happened recently, but the fact that the miracles have been revealed recently. And these are miracles back from the 7th of October, Rahman al-Islam, the terrible terrorist massacre that occurred in the South, and that for some reason or another has not been finished yet, with the enemies being totally removed from the world. But one of such stories is the Shabi family, that lives in the kibbutz called Be'eri in the south. Be'eri was one of the kibbutzim that were hit, one of the in the most terrifying and horrifying manners. I won't go into all the details, but in this story, we're told that the Shabi family, they were woken up 7 o'clock in the morning. It was Simchas Torah, 7 o'clock in the morning in Kibbutz Be'eri, and they heard a tumult. They heard noises going back and forth outside, and then all of a sudden, people in the kibbutz were messaging each other that the terrorists infiltrated into this family's home, and terrorists killed this and this person, and terrorists have taken this and this person hostage. And it was going back and forth throughout all the kibbutz members. Most of the kibbutz members, whoever had the opportunity, ran into their mamad, into their miklat, into their shelter, which is a room that is connected to the house, but it is a very thick concrete room with iron doors, and they locked themselves inside. As they locked themselves inside, Itai, who was the head of the family, together with his wife Moran and 2 children, they experienced that the handle of the iron door that they closed was being, someone was trying to raise the handle and open the door. And Itai, the father of the family, was fighting tooth and nail in order to make sure that they won't be able to raise the handle, because that was it. Once they have the door open, so they're hostages in the clutches of the terrorists' hands. While they were fighting for their lives, all of a sudden the electricity went down, and it was dark in the bomb shelter. And furthermore, when it became dark, they saw that there was smoke coming in. There was smoke coming in from outside, and they didn't know exactly what is happening, but Itai made a very quick mathematical equation that if there's smoke coming in, there won't be any oxygen inside the bomb shelter for long, and therefore they have to pick up their feet and run away. The only way right now that they knew to run away from the bomb shelter was the door. So Itai turns around to his wife Moran, and he tells her, "Listen, that's it. The game is up. Raise your hands, and we're coming out to give ourselves up to the terrorists." Itai tries to open the door this time, instead of what he was doing till now, was trying to shut the door locked. And when he tries to open the door, he sees that the door won't budge. The handle was stuck. How it happened, it was a miracle. But he wasn't able to open the door. And he thinks again and he says, wait, the bomb shelter has a window. So we'll escape through the window, which also has a very thick iron door on it. They climbed up the ladder. They went up. Itai opened up the window, and then slowly he opens the window, and he looks right, he looks left, and he sees from a distance, he sees terrorists, but none of them are paying attention to the window and where he was located. So he quickly turns around. He tells his wife and to pass him the children, and he tells his wife, "Follow after me." Each one took one of the children, and they were able to crawl out of the window and go down the ladder, and then they ran to a nearby miniature palm tree. For those that don't know, a miniature palm tree is a palm tree, but it doesn't grow very, very tall in height. It stays miniature, but it has very big and long palm leaves. They ran to the palm tree and they hid underneath. They crouched down and they hid underneath the leaves. Now, as we're telling the story, we'll go back a story in a story. It was only 2 weeks ago that Itai, the head of the family, before the holiday of Sukkot, decided that it's true they're not observant Jews, but they wanted to go and to build a sukkah in honor of the holiday of Sukkot. Okay? And so Itai went together with his wife and 2 children, and they built a beautiful sukkah. Now, in order to have a kosher sukkah, it's not enough to have 4 walls. You'll have to have schach. You have to have vegetational branches covering the top of the sukkah. So a person is eating under the schach. Where do you get schach? Well, there were some trees at the entrance of the kibbutz, and so they went and they cut quite a few branches at the entrance of the kibbutz, and they put it on top of the sukkah, but it still wasn't enough. What did they decide? They looked next to the sukkah, and they see right next to the sukkah, there's a beautiful they have a miniature palm tree. So they basically cut the majority of the branches of this miniature palm tree, and they put it on top of the sukkah so that they'll have schach to sit underneath. And now, at this moment, they're crouching down low, and they're barely hidden by the miniature palm tree branches, of which the majority they took 2 weeks ago in order to go and to put on top of the sukkah. And they're very quiet. The mother and the father tell the children to be quiet, and they literally see terrorists running back and forth, and none of these terrorists see them. And at a certain point, Itai says that there was a terrorist that was standing 20 centimeters away from the miniature palm tree where they were crouching underneath these leaves. And the terrorists did not detect the family, did not see them, did not smell them. And he walked away. They couldn't believe their ears, they couldn't believe their eyes. And they're living through this outright miracle. At a certain point, the wife, Moran, takes counsel with her husband, and she says, listen, if we go to the end of our backyard, so there are very high bamboo stalks, right? And there are quite a lot of them. So that would be a better place to hide than crouching down under the little amount of palm branches that we have here. Itai puts his mind to thought, and he says, no, we're not moving from here. She says, why? Doesn't it sound logical to you? He says, yes, logical it sounds, but we've been here now for at least 40 minutes, and miraculously, no one has detected us. No one has caught us. No one has taken us hostage. No one has even tried to shoot at us. This is an outright miracle. And therefore, I feel that we should remain put and stay put exactly where we are. And this is what happened. They stayed put. The kibbutz Be'eri was terribly, terribly, savagely massacred. The majority of the people didn't live to tell their story. Whoever was able to evacuated. And then the army came to take over, to recapture the kibbutz. After the kibbutz was recaptured, the Shabi family left the protection, in inverted commas, of the miniature palm tree. And this is their miraculous salvation that occurred during Simchas Torah and after Simchas Torah. We'll just end off this story with a very interesting concept that is brought in the book Hayom Yom. It's Hayom Yom is according to the daily calendar of the year. The Rebbe, it's one of the first books that the Rebbe compiled, and they are sayings and teachings mainly from the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Schneerson. So on the 25th of Iyar, in the Hayom Yom, it says like this. It says, Schar mitzvah mitzvah. The reward for a mitzvah is the mitzvah itself. And this means in Hasidic philosophy, it teaches that mitzvah comes from the root word of tzavta and chibur, togetherness and connection. In other words, when we have an opportunity to perform a mitzvah, so this is giving us the actual ability to connect with the commander of the mitzvah, which is Hashem himself. But nevertheless, even though the reward of the mitzvah is the mitzvah itself, we're told, furthermore, the Rebbe says, that Omnam Peroseya Adam Eichel Ba'ilam Hazeh. The fact of the matter is that the fruits of the mitzvah, a person is rewarded for here in this world as well. It's not only in the world to come. And the elaboration on this, the Rebbe goes on to say as follows. De ka'asher tzarich le'osei davar, that when a person is in need for that particular concept, for that particular thing that has to do with the particular mitzvah that the person observed, a person needs salvation in that concept, hu na'ana, the individual is answered. Hashem answers this individual. And therefore, the miniature palm tree, which was the source, the majority of the branches, which was the source for the Succah, that we're told is like the Anane HaKoved, the clouds of glory, that protected the Jewish nation in the desert from all atrocities, from even from the hot sun and so on. These same branches of Succah that were put on the Sukkah of the Shabi family, and this same source of Succah, the miniature palm tree, was the source of the protection. The mitzvah itself of the Succah that was taken from this miniature palm tree was the source of the protection for the entire Shabi family, Itai, his wife Moran, and their two children throughout the massacre in the kibbutz Be'eri on Simchas Torah. Hashem should help us and Hashem should watch over us, that we should never have to come to such protection, because we should never have such atrocities and such massacres occur to us ever again. And together with this, just as Hashem went and protected us 40 years in the desert until we entered the land of Israel, with happiness and joy, so also Hashem should bring us not only the protection that we need, but Hashem should also bring us the ability and the opportunity and the protection to settle the entire land of Israel, the holy land of the Eretz Yisrael, on a good and revealed basis with the revelation of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach and the third and the eternal Beis Hamikdash and the true and the complete Geula, Teichef u'miyad mamish, 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 immediately now. Yechi Adonenu, Morenu, V'Rabbeinu, HaMelech HaMoshiach, Chai V'Kayam, Le'olam Voed. Amen.